So the Cry Bully Funbusters on the left are mad about this now.
Trump is doing in front of the White House right now, and yes, this is a real video. Remember when Donald Trump said he was going to bring respect and normalcy back to the White House? Yeah, well, now there's people jumping motorbikes over the front lawn. There's a UFC octagon and claw on the south lawn. And there's a ballroom being built in the now destroyed area of the East Wing. Great.
Sorry, not sorry, but that is an objectively badass little piece of Americana. And you know, there's plenty of people pointing out that Biden had like a trans celebration on the White House lawn, and that I think Harry Truman used to bring boxers to spar with at the White House and things like that. But I'm a bit of a history buff, and I want to take it all the way back to 1829, the inauguration of Andrew Jackson, his first term. In which things got a little out of hand. Here's the Wikipedia entry. The inauguration itself took place on March 4th, 1829, and was the first time in which the ceremony was held on the east portico of the United States Capitol. 10,000 people arrived in town for the ceremony, eliciting this response from Francis Scott Key: "It is beautiful, it is sublime." By 10 a.m., the area in front of the Capitol was filled with people, and the stairs on the east portico were blocked by a ship's cable to prevent the crowd from advancing. An excited crowd of roughly 21,000 came to see the swearing in. Even if most would not be able to hear the inaugural address, Jackson came on foot to the ceremony. But to avoid the multitude, he used a basement door on the west front to enter the Capitol. Upon exiting to face the crowd, he bowed to great cheers. The scene described by a witness. Never can I forget the spectacle which presented itself on every side, nor the electrifying moment when the eager, expectant eyes of the vast and motley multitude caught sight of the tall and imposing form of their adored leader. As he came forth between the columns of the portico, the color of the whole mass changed. As if by miracle, all hats were off at once, and the dark tint which usually pervaded a mixed map of men was turned, as by a magic wand, into the bright hue of 10,000 upturned and expectant human faces, radiant with sudden joy. The peal of shouting that arose rent the air and seemed to shake the very ground. But when the Chief Justice took his place and commenced the brief ceremony of administering the oath of office, it quickly sank into comparative silence. As the new president proceeded to read his inaugural address, the stillness gradually increased, but all efforts to hear him beyond a brief space immediately around were utterly vain. As he entered, Jackson left on the west front of the Capitol, for the crowd had broken the ship's cable and surged forward. He proceeded to mount a white horse and rode up Pennsylvania Avenue to the White House. While this happened, people were climbing in through the windows to get into the White House. The White House was open to all for a post-inaugural reception and was filled by the public even before Jackson arrived on horseback. Soon afterward, Jackson left by a window or a side entrance and proceeded to Gadsby's, later called the National Hotel. The crowd continued to descend into a drunken mob, only dispersed when bowls of liquor and punch were placed on the front lawn of the White House. "I never saw such a mixture," said Joseph Story, then a justice of the Supreme Court. "The region of King Mob seemed triumphant. The White House was left a mess, including several $1,000s worth of broken china." I hate to break it to you, Harry, but your weak, limp-wristed, pretentious little attitude is way more analogous to the European way of life than anything that has to do with anything American, my guy. This right here, this is so America, bro. Oh yeah, and I'd just like to point out that they didn't shut this party down by sending in, like, the National Guard or even police. No jackbooted thugs sent in to violently quell this out-of-control party in which they were busting out the windows to the White House and destroying thousands of dollars worth of china. Their solution was to stick tubs of liquor and punch out on the front lawn to entice the crowds, the masses, to exit the building. That's the way you do things in America, and I think that's a little bit more of what we need to get back to, okay?